I'm going to try that again. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. We are so excited to have you here today for Family Connection Forum. So we have a great agenda set up for today. We are going to take a moment just to briefly look over our agenda. We'll be speaking about the inter-RAI updates and information. We have information about the Wellness Project. Our Community Life Engagement team has joined us to share some information as well. We'll get some updates about the Ohio ISP, few updates for families, and our last portion of our time together will be with leadership for questions and answers. So we are looking forward to this time. I want to thank our ASL interpreters. They will remain visible throughout the meeting. So if you need to pin the interpreter's video, please click the three dots in the video box, and the interpreter will be present for you throughout the meeting. We also have live captions available. To enable captions, click the CC button at the bottom of your Zoom screen, and you can adjust the caption size in your Zoom settings. A few reminders: please remain muted when not speaking. This will help both our interpreters as well as allowing for the information to be shared and heard by all. Video is encouraged, and today's session is being recorded. If you have any questions throughout our time together, please use the Q&A feature or type them in the chat. Our moderator will read the questions aloud for accessibility, and if you would like to speak, please raise your hand using the raise hand feature. And as an additional reminder, at this DoD event, photos, videos, and audio are recorded. By attending this event, you may be included in photos or videos, which will be shared, and your attendance does give us permission to share these videos and recordings. At the conclusion of this meeting, you will be able to find this recording and additional information on the DoDD YouTube channel, as well as our website. So what is Family Connection Forum? It is a time for families to learn about changes that impact their lives and support them, and also a time for folks to share experiences with leaders at DoDD by engaging in conversation. The intent of the time is for DoDD to hear firsthand from families and people living with disabilities across Ohio. And we like to give everybody an opportunity to share. If you have a particular concern that's specific to your services and support that your family or you may be receiving, those will be handled on an individual basis, and we will be happy to connect with you after the meeting. So this time I'm going to hand over the conversation to Janet Steffen to discuss the inter-RAI resources and updates. Janet, thank you so much for your time today, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Thanks, Meredith. Hello, everyone. My name is Janet Steffen. I am the project manager for the Waiver Modernization Project. Here to talk to you today about one of the components of waiver modernization, which is focused on assessments. So as you may know, this has been one of our main goals as part of the project. And we have been looking at the AAI and DDP and looking for improvements in those tools, in both streamlining assessments and the way that assessments operate, which currently we use AAI and DDP to determine funding ranges for individuals utilizing both day and what I'll call residential services. So, as part of that work, we explored different tools that could improve those two tools we currently use or replace them. So, part of that work, we looked at three major assessments that are used both nationally and internationally in some cases. We explored the SIS, the ICAP, and the NRI suite of assessment tools. As I said, all of those tools are used nationally and have been vetted and validated, but we have landed on the NRI suite of tools to move forward to replace the AAI and DDP. Can we go to the next slide, please? Thank you. So there are two tools that we will be using, the NRI ID tool and the NRI CHYMHDD, or known as CHIME, to replace the two current assessments. These tools will be used for folks on all three waivers. So historically, folks on the IO use the ODDP, and folks on level 1 and self did not take that assessment. So all folks will be taking them to help determine acuity-based rates, which we will talk about at a later point, or we can talk about that today. The NRI ID tool is used for individuals aged 18 and older, and the CHIME tool is for folks under the age of 18. So there are specific questions related to kids and questions related to adults, but both tools share many of the same questions. So there's about a 75% overlap between the two tools. So very, very similar, adjusted for age in some instances. We plan on sampling folks currently utilizing services in early 2026. And what I mean by a sample is we will start assessing folks, and it will help us gather information and compare how the tool is used across the country, across the state, how that compares to Ohio folks, and how folks have utilized services in the past, and how close that relates to what the tool is telling us. So we will start collecting a sample of folks in early 2026. Next slide, please. Some of you may have participated in the town hall meetings that we hosted recently. Those presentations go into more detail about how we arrived at the selection of the tools and what we can expect next regarding the sampling process and how the tools will be used in the future. Those presentations should be posted on our website and in our YouTube channel very soon. In addition to that, we had lots of folks participate, which was fantastic. I think in total we had close to 1,500 participants across the 4 town hall sessions that were oriented to persons served in their families, to providers, and to county board and SSA staff. So across those groups, we had about 1,500 people, which is great. So as you can imagine, we had lots of questions. And some we got to answer in the town halls, but many of them we couldn't address in the time that we had allotted. So we are currently working on a list of frequently asked questions, which respond to many of the questions that were asked. Those two will be available soon on our website for your review. For those of you that participated in the town halls, you will be receiving an email from us soon asking for your feedback about the experience in the town halls. If you could please complete that survey, that would be great. That will help us determine how best to communicate how the project is going in the future, and also answer any questions or be sure to address things that we didn't address in the first town hall. If you didn't participate in those meetings, you still have an opportunity to give us feedback. We have a dedicated email address, which I'll show you on the next slide, for you to submit any comments, questions, feedback to us. And that email address is managed by myself and Deloitte Consulting, who are helping us in this project. So someone checks that email every day and we will get responses back to you very quickly. So that's another way that you can communicate to us about what you'd like to hear more about or questions that you may have. And if you can move to the next slide, we have some resources and links. So we have a page on our website dedicated to the waiver modernization project, and that is the first link that you can see there. Again, you will have links to the town halls, the frequently asked questions, in addition to other resources associated with the project are available there. The second link is to Interi directly, and they have a really great resource on their website called Interi TV. And there's lots of overviews about the tools, how the tools were validated, how the tools are used. I think it's a very handy resource to get oriented to the institution itself and the particular tools. And then the final link is to the waiver redesign inbox that I just mentioned. Please, as I said, feel free to send any questions, provide any feedback. We'd love to hear from you and use that information in further communications.
Thank you so much, Janet. I really appreciate all of this great information. We do have a few moments if there are questions, and if not, we will share this information after the presentation so folks have an opportunity to reach out and ask their questions via email as well. Thank you so much,
Great.
Janet.
Thank you.
Sure. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Thanks.
Sure. So, if there's any questions, feel free to put them in the Q&A. We can pass them along to Janet and her team. And throughout the day, if you have other questions, please share them. I'm going to ask for folks who joined us after we started. I'm going to ask our team to please share the stream link text uh, so that folks can use the captioning if they need. So thank you. With that, I wanted to turn the conversation over to our next presenter, who is Holly Jones. And Holly Jones will be sharing about the wellness resources for families. Thank you so much for your work, Holly.
Hi, everyone. Let me know if my volume is okay. I'll just keep talking. Unless I hear from you, I'm just going to keep talking. Okay. All right. So next slide. So what I'm here to talk about is a little bit different today. So I hope this is interesting and fun for you. This month happens to be Self-Care Awareness Month. So I'm happy to be here because I love talking about self-care. And so we know that self-care leads to, I call it we care, caring for others. And caring for others, while it can be the most rewarding thing, it can also be the most challenging, as I'm sure you all have experienced. But research is catching up and not only telling us that we need self-care, but self-care is enhancing our resilience, which helps us endure those challenges. And resilience grows from paying attention and having supportive connections. And paying attention requires practice. So it's like building a muscle. So we have to do it over and over again because that pattern, repetition, is what's creating the new neural pathways that help protect us. Next slide. So what we have done is provided a resource, and I'm going to go through each of the parts of this resource. It's called the Wellness Project. And these pictures are just showing you some of the wellness places at our various agency spots. Oh, we're going really fast now. Okay. So you can see that this has been very creative and well received. Some of our developmental centers really, took a good look at what sort of resources would be helpful to the staff. So now you can go to the next slide. So if you want, you can look at this as I'm talking about it. So there's the QR code and the link, and I think it's also in the chat. But basically, this is a website about building resilience for staff people, for yourself, for anyone. The really cool thing about it is that you don't have to be a state worker. You don't have to be a professional. You don't have to have a username and a password. This is for anyone. So you can share this with the people you live with. You can share it with your neighbors. You can share it with anyone. And it's free. And we want this content to be out there and available to anyone. Next slide. So when you get there, if you're on your phone, you're going to see tabs across the top. And if you're on your computer, it's going to be on the left-hand side. And this is really simple, plain language, no jargon. So the first one you'll see is called Read. And this includes book recommendations as well as quick reads. If you click on the book recommendations, you don't have to do this now. And the other thing I should say is when you first get there, the welcome page has a little video that I created. So if you don't remember anything I say right now, that's fine. The video goes through all of this with you. And as well as if you're sharing it with someone else, I always recommend or suggest that you ask them to watch that video first because it really tells you how to navigate the web page. So book recommendations are a list on Amazon, and it's just on Amazon because that's the easiest way for us to offer these books to you. You can get them at your local library, of course, or your favorite bookseller, but they are a variety of topics around wellness, around self-care, around the research, practices, a variety of authors. So that keeps growing and growing. And then the quick reads are little things that you could post maybe at your water cooler or just, have for yourself, a variety of topics as well. So these are just two samples that are there, but you'll see more when you visit the webpage. We can go to the next slide. Well, actually, you don't have to go back, but one more thing I want to say about the read page is that if you would be interested in maybe starting a book club, that's a great way. If you're not sure what to read, there are books there that might inspire you. The next page is called Listen. And so this includes podcast episodes, podcast series, and music and meditation playlists. So these are just a few samples. You'll see that they are in drop-down headers. And so you can click through each header and you'll see a variety again of podcast shows that all have to do something with the topic of wellness. And then the music, the playlist that I think is the most interesting is one where we had our trauma-informed care trained champions from across our developmental centers offer to me to put together this playlist, their top pickup songs, like their walk-on songs, if you will, something that really gets their energy up, as well as their favorite lower energy or calming songs. So it's a pretty long playlist and it's really fun for you to go through for yourself. Next slide. Watch includes recorded webinars on a variety of wellness topics. So these are just a few samples. When you get onto that page, you can slide through, I think it's around 3 or 4 pages of recorded webinars. And this is great for staff who may miss watching it live to be able to get that content later. Next slide. Taste. This is always like lunchtime, so I'm trying to make you hungry. This is a collection of recipes. Some of them are professional chefs and some of them are people that just wanted to share their favorite recipe with me. And you might even see some faces that you recognize on that page. Next slide. The Explore page is a link to a Padlet board, and you could spend a lot of time just on this one particular tab. We've got supports for staff wellness, supports for managing grief and sadness and loss, a lot of information around school wellness, as well as information around state agency wellness initiatives and national publications. So you could spend a lot of time there. And if you have any questions, I think my contact information is here. It's also at the beginning of this web page. On the front welcome page, you'll see you could email me if you have any questions. Next slide. The experience page is all about the multi-experiential part of this web page. So we offer meditations, breath practices, as well as mindful movement. So just before I came in here, I was in sort of a stressful situation. And so before I started in this space with you all. I did a little breath practice for myself. You can do it right now if you want to. We just inhale as if we're inflating a balloon. And when you exhale, you make the O shape with your mouth, soften your jaw, and exhale softly and smoothly. So you can keep doing that. I would do that maybe 3 or 4 times, but I got to keep going. So next slide. The reflect page, we have a playlist called Life Lessons. These are short talks to inspire you to think about your own personal reflections. You could journal, or you could just share for yourself. We also have invitation to fathers. If you would like to tell us how you support your wellness, we want to make sure we highlight that. So all those details are on that page. Next slide. Connect, because we need connections, we need supportive connections. We've gathered compiled a list of support groups and peer support groups and supports that we think, if you're not sure and you want to look around and see what might be available, that's where we would like you to take a look. Next slide. So just so you remember that there are side effects of caregiving that sometimes we don't talk about and we don't recognize until it gets to be a problem. So for those that are caregiving, there are possibilities of more exhaustion, more social isolation. There is a high care burden involved when you're giving care for complex needs. And also if you have any pre-existing mental health struggles. So that's why this is so important to take care of ourselves. Next slide. September is also National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. So hopefully you've seen some things about that. We at DODD have a behavior supports resource collective, and the link is there. I've also given you a picture of what it looks like. So when you get to our behavior supports webpage, in the yellow highlighted box, that's where you're going to find this link to the Padlet board. And so right now on our Padlet board, we have many resources on suicide prevention, and it's all in the color purple because that happens to be the suicide prevention color. So again, please take the time to look through those resources. Next slide. And if you or someone you're serving or caring about need help, 988 is a great resource, as well as MRSS, Mobile Response Stabilization Services. And if you want information, the website for MRSS is there. Next slide. That's it. There I am. So hit me up if you have any questions. And thanks for letting me talk about this today.
Thank you, Holly. This is really great. I love going to your page, and I have had a great time listening in and exploring some of the different resources that you have put together. You've done a tremendous job. I also want to take this moment to invite folks, if you have joined or looked at the wellness project, if you've enjoyed using it, please reach out to Holly and let her know, or let any of us know. We'd love to hear what's working and what you would like to see as well. So yes, any questions from folks right now? You can have a moment to ask Holly about additional resources. And if not, I so appreciate everything that you do, Holly, to make sure that caregivers and families are doing well as they are caring for their loved ones in our system.
Thank you. This is my pleasure.
Thank you so much for your time. So I am going to move our conversation along. Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, all right, because I had to use your headphones because both of these other ones are pins or for an iPhone, and I didn't have one that worked in the USB.
Your camera is off.
Yeah.
Is there a question? I do hear some I hear speaking, so I wanted to make sure I captured any questions that we may have. Okay, maybe not. Thank you so much, Holly, again for everything that you do. So I'm going to turn our conversation over to the community life engagement team so they can share some exciting highlights about resources that are coming up.
Thank you. This is Keith Banner. I'm with the Community Life Engagement Team. I'm the project lead for it, and it includes both the Technology First and the Employment First initiatives. And Sarah is on with me. So, Sarah, if you want to unmute and let us know who you are.
Everybody, I'm Sarah Burnham. I'm also, as Keith said, I'm from our team as well, and I am one of 5 regional community life engagement managers that support different parts of the state. I support Northwest Ohio, and then we also have Melissa Morelli on our team who supports the entire state through our Works for Me project. Thanks,
Thank
Keith.
you. Yeah, sure. We're ready to go to the next slide. We only have one slide, so we're not going to take a lot of your time. We wanted to go over a couple of new resources and then a resource that's really valuable that I hopefully if you haven't heard about it, you can hear about it today. The reason we're doing this, and I think I asked Corey if you wouldn't mind putting that Indeem link in the chat. Next month in October is the National Disability Employment Awareness Month that's kind of put on by the U.S. Department of Labor's Office of Disability Employment Policy. It's all of October, and it basically is a time for us to celebrate and spotlight and just kind of really pay homage to people with developmental disabilities who are working in the community, their employers, their families, the providers that support them, the county boards that support them, OOD, the Opportunities for Ohioans with Disabilities that support them, all the people that kind of make their work about employment, we get to celebrate. So if you have any of those stories as a family member or as a person with a disability who has a job and would love to tell the story, we're always on the lookout to be able to kind of magnify that and tell people about it. So you can send me any stories, and Corey can put my email and the address if you have any. So anyway, the first resource I'm going to talk about real quick, and the link for it's in the slides, and I'm sure Corey will share that link in the chat too, is a new resource for support teams, basically for case managers and SSAs to kind of have a kind of a cheat sheet. It's a one pager front and back, and it just walks people through the places on the path to community employment, and then also the services and supports and questions to talk about as you plan to support somebody to get a job in the community. So it's really beneficial. And on the flip side of that is all kinds of resources beyond DODD that helps people enter the workforce, like Ohio Means Jobs, like I mentioned, OOD, other organizations that are about supporting anybody that needs a job to get a job. So that's a really valuable new resource up on the DODD website. And then the second one I'm going to talk about is a really cool resource guide for folks who are interested in employment. And it has the same structure. It's about the 4 paths to community employment, but it's basically meant to be used by people with developmental disabilities to convey what they're thinking about around work and how they want to move toward getting a job. And it's beautifully colored. We just revamped it a couple of months ago, and it's a fillable PDF where you can type in answers to questions around what kind of work you like, what are you interested in, and then also it moves into what place are you on the path to employment, and what kind of conversation you might want to have with your case manager, SSA, and other folks around that. So those 2 resources are brand new, and we're really proud to be able to offer them up. And then I think Sarah's going to talk to us a little bit about the Community Life Guide, which is on the Employment First website.
Yeah, thanks, Keith. The Community Life Guide is not necessarily a new tool, but I think sometimes we forget it's there. And it is just a great guide to help you learn how to live your best life and how to stay safe while you work, live, and explore your community. So if you would go to our Ohio Employment First website, and I think Corey's putting the link in the chat as well, and even just put in the search Community Life Guide. It takes you to a link, and it has some little subsections under there. One is Speak Up, Stay Safe, Community Health and Safety Training, the Job Seekers Guide, which we really like that one. It's 8 modules with step-by-step instructions and tools to kind of help you through that path to community employment. We also have Building financial and digital skills, which we know is really important as we navigate our community and build independence. And then also moving into adult healthcare. So kind of as you go from where you're having support making those health decisions to starting to do that independently, we know that looks different for everybody. And there's some great modules in there to help with that as well. So we hope if you guys get a chance, you can go check out some of those links and let us know if you have any questions. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody, for listening to us. Appreciate it.
These are some really great resources. I have been able to access them. I know they've been shared, so I'm glad that you had some time to talk about them. I think these are great also for a variety of reasons, including preparing for, you know, an ISP, let's say. So if there's no questions right now, I will move along to our next presenter, who is going to share a little bit more about the Ohio ISP and where we're at with all of those things. So I wanted to give folks a moment to gather their thoughts or maybe take a look at some of those resources that we have. And I'm going to turn our conversation over to Beth Chambers so we can learn a little bit more about Ohio ISP, where we're at, and any resources and questions that we may have for you. Thanks, Beth.
Thanks, Meredith. That picture always makes me smile with Marcy, the rock star of that conference. But yes, I want to just give a little bit of new information. Some of it might not be new to you. I'm Beth Chambers. I'm the statewide Ohio ISP manager, and just want to share just kind of where we are, as Meredith said, give some highlights of the Ohio ISP project. Ohio ISP, many of you know, it's a standardized assessment and planning template and process to be used throughout the state. The goal is the person and their family drive the planning process. It's so important to remember that as we move forward. Next slide, please. And then this one plan can be used for all Ohioans. The same plan format and process is to be used, and then Ohio ISP content is individualized. A lot of people, when we first started talking about a single plan and the template, they said, well, if it's standardized, how will it be person-centered? And I feel like we have accomplished that and more. We have a standardized template so that people kind of know what to expect. They know the process, and then it's individualized. That's where you put the good stuff. That's where I learn about the people that I'm talking to and discovering more about them as we move forward. So it really, the individualized information makes this Ohio ISP come to life. You use that template to really focus on what the person you're talking to really wants and needs for a meaningful life to them. And then the plan follows the person served. Next slide. The Ohio ISP, as I said, it can be used for anyone. People receiving home and community-based services, HCBS waivers, and living in intermediate care facilities, or ICFs, must have an Ohio ISP. And we're going to talk about timelines in Ohio ISP and the online system by June 30th, 2024. No compliance citations were issued for plans not being in the DoD online system until January 1 of 2025. And we know that those timelines have both come and gone. And we know that everyone is not still in the system. We have a great group of team members who really work regionally with county boards, with their service and support administrators or SSAs, and the qualified intellectual disability professionals, the QIDPs in intermediate care facilities, to really see what the barriers or the challenges have been with getting plans in the online system. So our numbers are looking really good, but we are providing that personalized support still to work with teams to see how we get the rest of those plans in the system. So making tremendous progress, but just wanted to let you know that we have been working really hard to see what the additional support and needs are of people. Next slide, please. And I don't think we can emphasize it enough. Ohio ISP, it might seem daunting and overwhelming that it is, if you think about it as a whole, it's a big concept, a big document. But the Ohio ISP, obviously there's contact page and demographics, but then you get to the Ohio ISP introduction page that really kind of outlines at a glance what's important to and for the person, the highlights. And then there's the plan portion, and that's what we've all agreed to. We take what the person needs and wants and how they're going to get it. We talk about the how, the who, how services will be delivered, responsible parties, funding. And then the discovery assessment, that might be what people aren't used to seeing. And that's where we want to empower team members to be part of the planning process from the very beginning, to know what questions are being asked in that standardized template, to know what's going to be discussed, what sections, what areas will be talked about. And I think a lot of that will be very familiar in the discovery assessment because it was built on charting the life course domains, principles, concepts. So a lot of that will be familiar to people. So next slide, please. And then a little bit more on that, the introduction. It's how we would want to be introduced. It's how we would introduce a friend or family member, but it's not just the fluff. It's not just the good stuff. It's what would be important for me to know when I'm working with someone for a short period. If I'm working a shift, what would I need to know to get through that shift to make sure the person and the staff have a good day, that we're all aware of, say, there's a choking hazard. That is something I need to be aware of, and I need to know how to mitigate that risk, those kind of things. The assessment, that's ongoing learning, casual conversation, getting to know the person, seeing what changes about what their wants and needs are, discovering what the person needs, focusing on their wants, their strengths, abilities, any risks that they might have, and how we would work to mitigate those. What is important to and for the person. And then, as I said, that's just an ongoing process. And then the plan, that's kind of what we used to see. That's what we're used to getting in our hands, reading. Is this what I talked about? Is this what we agreed upon? And then what the person and their family and the team members are agreeing to, what that provider is saying, yes, this is what I'm going to be able to deliver. The person can say, nope, that we didn't get it quite right. That's let's make some changes to capture this. So it's the plan that really is driven by the assessment process. And I want to go back to the introduction. There should be nothing in that introduction section that's not captured in the assessment or plan. So there should be no surprises. Next slide. The Ohio ISP. We want to emphasize too that just reach out to your SSA or QIDP for the information on what to expect and timelines for transitioning to Ohio ISP. We're getting there. There are so many plans in the system right now, but if you're not sure of timelines or what that looks like in your area, please reach out to your service and support administrator or qualified intellectual disability professional. Next slide. Ohio ISP, what will you experience when transitioning to the Ohio ISP? The planning process, assessment, planning, all of that looks the same. That team process should be the same. You'll still sign off on the completed plan and agreement. If you disagree, there's still a way to offer dissenting opinions until something can be agreed to. So the process looks the same. It might not be inside the online system. So really, if you have any questions, you should be able to still give input the way you always have. You should be able to be part of the assessment process. You should be able to see the plan, sign on it before it's finalized, and then contact team members in the SSA or QIDP if you feel changes are necessary. Next slide. And then the way you receive or access plans will vary based on where the county board or intermediate care facility is in their implementation plan. So some plans are entered directly into Salesforce, that's DODD's online system. Some county boards and ICFs choose to use the software vendors. So the plan components and requirements are the same, but the plans are entered in through that vendor system and then they're transferred to Salesforce. So the vendors right now are Britco, Primary Solutions, and Core. Again, you shouldn't feel any of that. You should just be knowing that there are different ways that the county boards and ICFs enter those plans. Next slide. And then I wanted to talk a little bit about this Ohio ISP template. So we recently gave many opportunities for people with developmental disabilities, families, guardians, providers, SSAs, QIDPs, pretty much everyone in the service delivery system to a chance to provide feedback about what they would like to see added or removed from the Ohio ISP template. And people could choose to complete an online survey. They could also attend several in-person sessions that we provided throughout the state to walk through the components of the Ohio ISP template. And during the survey and in the in-person sessions, we literally went through each section, each component, and said anything you want to add, remove, change. We analyzed that data and we've got a report that's available and it's on our website. The link is in the slides below. And it's also, thank you in the chat. But it's really summarizes, there's actual feedback if you're really interested in a lot of information, or it talks a little bit about the main themes and next steps. Next slide. And I don't think I even need it. I know one of the main results of that survey was that 82% of participants said that they requested no changes in the Ohio ISP template. I think that's great. It says that this is working, and there were some themes that we're already working on, we're putting into practice about some things added to the contact page. There was one, the introduction. People wanted the communication chart in the introduction. That's already been done. So we're working on that. We're kind of really making changes based on what people said would be enhance the user experience. We are also developing a continuous quality improvement process that will likely be every 3 years, getting some of those details worked out, but we will give similar opportunities for that feedback through surveys and online surveys and the chance for in-person sessions. Okay, there we go. And then I talked a little bit about the implementation, where we are. This was from the beginning of August, so we're ready to pull the data again. So this is, the numbers will be higher. But right now, 91% of individuals receiving waiver services are already in the system. 77% of residents living in intermediate care facilities are in, and 82% of people living in developmental centers. So those are the numbers that of people that have active or approved Ohio ISPs in the online system. Any questions on anything I covered?
Beth, your team has been doing some amazing work, and I love interacting with them and collaborating and hearing all the wonderful things that they have developed and all the hard work they're putting in to make sure that everybody's plans are in place and are really reflecting the vision and the purpose of a good life for people around Ohio. So thank you so much for your time and thank you for sharing updates. I think there was a question in the chat about the links, and yes, the links are available. Does anybody else have any questions? If they want to unmute to ask Beth or any questions about the Ohio ISP at this time? not seeing hands up at this time, so I will move our conversation along. And thank you, Beth, so much for all that you're doing, and thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
So I wanted to take a moment to share a few updates and additional opportunities for folks to connect. We love hosting these meetings, and in between the meetings that we have here, we love to share information. The meetings and the content for these meetings are really driven by a very special group of folks. They are a peer selected group called the Community Connection Core Group, and these folks have an opportunity to serve on this collective for 2 years. And I do see some of our core group have joined us today, so thank you for your time. So if you are interested in participating, there is an opportunity coming up very soon. Applications will be open for our next group of folks. We do have a select amount of spots, a few spots available. So stay tuned. And if you have additional questions, please feel free to reach out to our team. As I mentioned, there are many ways to continue to get information and updates from DODD as we, in between meetings and uh, gatherings and opportunities. So, one great way to stay up to date and get the most recent information is to subscribe to our newsletters. You will get a newsletter every week through Memo Monday. We have newsletters available for folks who are direct service professionals if they want to learn more about technology updates, such as the community life engagement team and all the wonderful things they're doing. There's the newsletter for that as well. So you can stay up to date with DODD through all of the news that we share. There's also a wonderful podcast. We were talking about ways to engage in wellness, but the DODD podcast, hosted by my colleague and friend Nathan Turner, is a great way to get some highlights and special stories. So thank you, Nate, for your time and doing an amazing job hosting really relevant and interesting topics. Thank you so much, everybody, for taking time during your lunch period in the middle of the day to join us to get additional information and learn with us. And we always enjoy the time that we have together. Thank you to Steve, Holly, Sarah, all of our presenters. Beth, thank you so much for all the work that you do. And I'm probably forgetting somebody, but oh, of course, my team, Nate and Corey, thank you also for supporting this work. So the next time that we gather will be at the end of the year in December. On December 10th, we will be gathering virtually again. And if there is a link, oh, thank you, link for the next meeting, please consider signing up and sharing with everybody. And I appreciate all of the time together. I hope you have a wonderful afternoon. Thanks all. Bye-bye.